ChessDiagnostic.
Hello everybody and welcome to ChessDiagnostic. So I'm going to start my timer here at 20 minutes because my last video I was talking about training for 20 minutes a day, and I got some feedback. People were wanting to know what to do. So I'm just going to make a couple videos about this. And now I'm not saying you're going to become the strongest ever with 20 minutes a day, but you'd be very surprised how much progress you can make with a quality 20 minutes a day. So I recommend this site, ChessDiagnostic server. Now, you're going to want to combine quality slow analysis with learning basic tactics. And this will happen no matter how strong you get. And you can see on here, the rating system is very hard to get a high rating on here. Even an international master is getting a 2130. You don't even need to register, but you sign in as a guest. Now, I use this every once in a while, and the beautiful thing about this site is that they have problems based on rating. Now, I would actually start with 1100, and normally what I do is you click Update Settings and then Start. So at 1100, you're going to be getting the most basic tactics, and if you do this for 20 minutes a day, you'll actually be surprised how your complicated and tactical vision improves. You don't need to just study complicated tactics to improve. Alright, so let's see what to do here. Oh, I meant to click on that square there. There was a fork. So, for example, if you make a mistake, then you click See Solution, and this is how you'll improve. So then you'll go back, and you'll see that he played A4, and then there was a knight fork with knight to B3, or knight to B2 check, and then after the king moves, you take. So these simple tactics, you just do this for 20 minutes a day, and now I'm going to actually do it with my timer running. You can see we're at 17 minutes, 18 minutes about. Alright, so in this situation, you're just trying to find quick tactical shots. Very useful and the most practical training you could do. Now I could see here that if he takes with the rook, I can pin the queen and there was a checkmate. Alright, now there's a fork between the king and the two rooks because the pawn was cutting it off. And at first when you start, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Alright, now I'm threatening mate and the queen because you're not going to see all these shots. But what you do is you go slow. If you got something wrong, then you figure out why. So I can see there's a pin, and if he makes a mistake, if he doesn't protect that knight, then here we go. So you try immediately when you see it, you try to figure out what tactics are possible. Alright, I can see my knight's pinned. I just protect it, and then it wants one more move. Alright, so I got this wrong. Let's see. What did I miss here? It's always going to be something basic. And then, okay, knight to d2. I missed this fork here. Although actually, even though I saw the bishop would be winning, so it's not necessarily a winning continuation because after the fork, either it's a draw. So some of these are not always winning combinations. But what you want to make sure you do is look through every mistake that you make. And this blitz kind of appearance is deceptive because you're training your intuition as well as your quick tactical vision, which is useful. But what you miss a lot of times in blitz is the analysis part. And you'll see that with some players playing thousands upon thousands of games, but they haven't looked at one of them. And this will help you prevent that. So there's that sacrifice and the knight fork for the queen and the king. Alright, so here we have this I guess you have to click both of them. It's kind of an old format, but it's a free site, so that's very useful. You won a knight there, because if he brought his knight back, it would have been checkmate. Alright, so it's white to move. I can't take here. I could take this bishop. So as you can see, this is training your quick tactile vision. Check and win the queen. So why am I doing such basic, easy problems? Because these are really the most important. Keeping the king out, and that's a one ending. Alright, if he takes the rook, I can check and then mate on here on h7. Now my goal normally when I'm doing these is to get to 1800. Now 1800 is kind of a high rating for this site, but you'll set your own goals. Maybe you'll even just try to get to 1400 or 1500 depending on your level. I was stuck at 1600 for a long time, and then I kind of broke through. And actually this isn't my main account, I just sign in as a guest, but I've done this over the years. I haven't really been doing this recently, but I did this to get to 1600 level some years ago. Alright, I was just calculating that e6, so you can't really take much time on here, otherwise your rating goes down, as you can see. So I can take this because the queen is touching that rook, and I'll win it. So even the 2 or 3 move combinations are at the 1500 level. You win the rook because you're threatening the queen there. That was just a counting problem. He was threatening mate, but the knight covered the g2 square on that last problem. Alright, so deflecting the king to queen that g7 pawn. So how does this differ from blitz? Well, as I said before, we're analyzing each problem if you get it wrong. If you get it right, of course, you should try to figure out what you're doing in each problem. Sometimes you're just quickly seeing it and then kind of guessing, but... Alright, so there's a checkmate here. You have to click the square of the piece and then go back. As I said, it's an old interface. So let's see where we're at. We're only at 11 minutes, and I've already done a ton of problems. Alright, so I should have seen he's threatening checkmate, but of course I can chase the queen back. So this differs from a game because you know that there's going to be a simple problem. You know what level you're going for. But these easy problems are just statistically the most common type of tactics. You get very complicated tactics and combinations much less often. And as you could see from my World Open losses and wins, these games actually are... Okay, that was a mistake. So I was thinking there. These games are actually they're the games that I played. There was not very many complicated tactics. It was just simple blunders, and I think that happens all the way up till master and even above. People blunder, and it's really not your opponent outthinking you with some amazingly brilliant combination. It's really just an annoying basic blunder a lot of times. And to prevent that, you just focus on increasing your very simple tactical vision. Alright, so I'm at 1600 now. I want to see the solution. So I'm gonna try to guess. Well, it's already showing it, but so I could have won. Oh, okay, so if the rook comes over here, then actually it's pinned to the queen, so that's why. And one thing you could do as well is in my 28 Days to Better Chess Tactics, I talk about a thought process. Of course, here you're not really using your thought process, you're working on basic motifs. But if you get something wrong, you really can work through your thought process. So if we do that here, you'd see that he made a forcing move, and now there's actually three forcing moves. There's queen takes rook, queen takes knight, and pawn takes. Well, there's also bishop takes, so there's 4. And of course I should have looked at the check first with queen takes. I saw that, but I saw the rook come over, but I missed this line that the queen was pinned to the rook. And so you just visualize that and figure out where you went wrong in your thought process. Now this process happens over and over until you get better at it. You can see 12 minutes in about, and we've already done a lot of work. So back on our way, and actually I'll have this be my last problem. I'm going to move up a level, see how I do there. Alright, it's easier to get to 1800 when you're doing a little harder problems. And I go in steps when I do this. I don't do it too much just because you're seeing so many positions in such a short amount of time, so he's probably going to take there. Alright, maybe not. Because the higher the rating, the easier or the more points you get, the easier it is to get more points. So that was a discovered attack on that rook. Alright, so this is a checkmate because the bishop comes back. Very important pattern to know. Alright. Well, I'm gonna escape checkmate with more material there. I guess you can technically consider equal. A lot of these problems have kind of a... Okay. Trap the queen. That was pretty simple. Maybe he'll take here and then I can check. So you can kind of preempt what the computer or whatever it is that made these is doing. Now threatening checkmate, queening that pawn. Winning that rook with a check. Alright, so pin the queen, and the pawn was pinned to the queen as well. Alright, this is a discovery. Oh, so what did I miss? Okay, here we go. I missed something, and queen takes d5. Of course, the knight, so I should have taken the knight first. So sometimes these patterns can trick you. Queen takes d5. The knight was still covering the queen. I should have taken the c3 knight, and then he would have had to move his queen. So he'd have to move his queen back, and I would have won a piece. So you can see this process. You can go through a lot of positions in still only 14 minutes in. Now this will just be your basic tactics training. You can do this for really anything, endgames, openings, and I'll probably make a video for each section. This will just be for basic tactics. Now I would recommend you learn complicated tactics not by trying to solve informant puzzles or anything, but by actually analyzing a master game, because in just one game you can see all the different... Alright, now I'll chase that knight away and win that bishop. Just in one master game you can see a bunch of different basic tactical motifs and how that leads to complicated tactics. Alright, here, I don't want to move the knight. I can win the queen. I was thinking about playing knight to f4 and threatening mate, but he'll just play g3. I don't know what that was about. Alright, now there's no way for him to prevent mate because that bishop was blocking playing f3. Now I recommend that you could do this verbally or just in your head. This is what I do, is I always try to kind of have an image of that puzzle in my mind going forward in the next one, of what was going on there. Especially if you get it wrong, you'll actually go to the solution and analyze it. But even if not, so that was a pin of that rook to the bishop, winning material. That wins the rook, or the queen for a rook. Now, of course, I have this checkmate because of the pin on the g5 pawn. So you can see I'm kind of getting up there. I don't know if I'll make 1800 today, but so I can win that. Well, actually, it's mate here because the bishop's covering that square. You can see they're judging you really fast. 3 seconds. They actually have a timed solution. That's why this site can be really hard, because even if you want to take your time, just a few more seconds. But it does train you to spot simple tactics very fast. And I would actually recommend, if you're under 2000, to not play blitz, but just playing. Of course, there was I already know what I did wrong. There was the knight to g3 check. So you can see I missed a knight fork. This is actually a common tactical mistake. I've seen this in a lot of games that I've played, blitz games online at least, where the bishop takes and removes, and there's an in-between move. So he thought I was going to take, which is what I did, and then he'd move his rook, getting out of that fork. Alright, so continuing on, just have 2 minutes left. You can see I've already got a good training session in, learned some mistakes. Alright, it's white to move. Alright, so that was just a queening tactic, figuring out which pawn to push. Alright, so can I make it? I don't know. I think I can, just by my intuition. I can push this pawn, and there's no way the king or the bishop can stop it. So the main idea of the 20 minutes a day is that you're focusing on one thing. You're not spreading all your training around. You're not trying to do end games or... Okay, I'm taking way too long on this. There we go. Trap the bishop. You're not trying to study end games and openings and everything all in one day. You're doing one thing a day, quality. And over time, that quality work will add up to make you a strong player. Okay, now here, forking the queen and the bishop. I guess we'll just take that bishop. See the in-between move. So that was an in-between tactic, because you have the pin knight with a check. He was trying to undermine. And then I'll check on d6, forking the king and the knight. So I haven't made it to 1800, not even close. But the key is not necessarily just to reach a certain rating, but All right. All right. Okay. I wasn't meaning to move the king there. All right. So the 20 minutes is up, and we're all done. And I know that what I did the last one there, I should have moved the bishop up. I was trying to move it up right there, and then we're threatening the queen and winning that knight there. All right, so that's about all you'd want to do. You don't want to do too much in one day for any one thing, but if you're going to study for 20 minutes a day, just focus on one thing. And I think I'll make videos about other topics soon here. Just leave me a comment what you think about this method, and if you have any questions. Hopefully it was clear enough. I just really wanted to show an actual 20-minute a day training. Now, did this make me better? Some would argue no, but I would say that doing this every day, just think if I improved 1% today, then in a year I'll make a huge improvement just on my basic tactics. So I don't know what bearing that'll have on my rating. Of course, you need to play more tournaments and more games for that to go up, but in terms of my skill, I feel it's actually gotten better. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.